A very good morning, dear students, and a warm welcome. Now, today in Science 1, we are going to learn a new chapter called as Measurement of Matter. Okay, now you must be aware or you must have heard about the word called as matter. You know, all the objects are made up of matter. So, this you have learned in the previous class. So, today we shall learn about how to measure the matter. Okay, hundreds of years the scientists were curious to know about the smallest part of the matter, and therefore many of the scientists trying to find out what is the smallest part of the matter. You have learned about John Dalton's theory last year, then J.J. Thomson's atomic model, okay, or also called as a plum pudding model of an atom. Then you have also learned about the Rutherford's nuclear model of an atom, and you have also learned about the Niels Bohr stable orbit atomic orbit model. Okay, so all these scientists try to find out what was the matter made up of. Okay, and finally they came to know that it was nothing but the atom. So it was John Dalton who gave in his atomic theory that he said that matter consists of the first, they were before like Rishi Kanad and even Democritus, tried to find out what the matter consists of. They also proposed that the atom, the matter is made up of the smallest indivisible particle. Okay, Rishi Kanad called it as Parmanu, whereas Democritus called it as atomos, meaning nothing but uncut, the substance which cannot be cut, that is called as atom. So finally gave the name called as atom. And even later on in the year around 1803, John Dalton also put forth his Dalton's atomic theory, and he stated that matter consists of very small particle called as atoms, and these atoms are indivisible as well as indestructible. Or he also called an atom as a hard solid sphere which does not have any internal structure. Fine. So also Dalton proposed that molecules of a compound are formed by joining of atoms of different elements. That means the different compounds are formed or molecules of these compound are formed by joining of the atoms. Now for example, if you see over here, when two hydrogen atoms of the element called as hydrogen combines with one atom of oxygen, it forms the molecule called as water. That's formula of water is H2O. So it was also proposed by Dalton. Okay, fine. Now in the previous grade or in the 8th standard, you have also learned that compounds are formed by chemical combination. If you remember, they are formed by chemical combination of two or more elements. Like for example, water was the first example which I gave. Now second example is here. You can see that when iron filling and sulfur powder just heated together, you will find that it forms a new compound, new substance called as iron sulfide, which is nothing but called as the compound formed from two elements, iron and sulfur. Okay, so this you have already studied in the previous standard. So you are also familiar with some of the substances like salt or maybe slake lime, water, lime and limestone. Do you remember the formula, molecular formula? Yes, I hope so you remember. So salt is nothing but sodium chloride and its formula is NaCl, whereas slaked lime is nothing but calcium hydroxide, or also the molecular formula is CaOH2 inside the bracket. Fine. Water, everybody is familiar with water, that is nothing but H2O. Lime is nothing but CaO or calcium oxide. Lime is a common name for calcium oxide, and formula is CaO. Whereas limestone is also called as calcium carbonate, that is CaCO3. Okay. Now let us today learn about something called as laws of chemical combination, just to verify that matter is made up of atoms, and all these compounds which are formed, the molecules of the compounds are formed by chemical combination of the different atoms or the elements. Okay, so let us study about the laws of chemical combinations. Now, first of all, remember students that there are in laws of combination, actually there are three laws of which you are going to study two. That is, one is law of conservation of matter, also called as law of conservation of mass, and second one is law of constant proportion. There is one more, that is third one, law of multiple proportion, but you are not going to study in this standard. So right now in laws of chemical combination, which are three laws, out of that only two laws you are going to study, that is law of conservation of matter, also called as mass, and second one is law of constant proportion. So today we will deal up to the law of conservation of matter. In the next video I am going to explain you about the law of constant proportion. So scientists in the 18th and 19th century tried to find out how was the composition of substance, how the composition of substance, it changes during a chemical change. That means when the two or more substances join together, or also we call it in chemical terms as react together, how a new substance is formed and how the chemical change takes place. So you can see that when to water calcium oxide is added, you get a new substance called as calcium hydroxide. So many scientists, while doing this, they measured accurately the substances used and which are formed. Okay, so they try to measure the substances, that means what we call them as reactants, and the substances which are formed later, which we call it as products. So they try to measure accurately. So that is only what we are going to learn in this lesson, that is measurement of matter. Okay, like for example here, when calcium oxide reacts with water, it forms a new substance called as chemical calcium hydroxide after a chemical change. So how is the how you can how they have tried to accurately measure about the substances which are used and substances which were formed. Okay, so the scientists such as Dalton, Thomson and Rutherford studied the structure of the atom and also discovered the laws of chemical combination. Okay, so all three of them gave the laws of chemical combination. You can see that calcium oxide when combined with water forms a new molecule of a compound called as calcium hydroxide. Okay, now to verify these laws of chemical combination, let us perform two activities. For this we will require certain apparatus and some chemicals. So the apparatus are like conical flask, test tubes, beaker and a balance. Why balance is required here? Because we want to measure the matter. Fine, so that is why a balance is used. Now the chemicals which will be used are nothing but calcium oxide, then a solution of calcium chloride, a solution of sodium sulfate and water. So now let us try to perform the first activity. For that we will require to take 56 grams of calcium oxide. So we have to take these from the known chemical formula. We are going to perform this activity. Now here known chemical formulas we are using is calcium oxide, second one is water. So here 56 grams of calcium oxide is taken and around 18 grams of water is added to the calcium oxide. So what do you observe over here? You find that you can see that reaction is taking place. You can see a bubble here. Reaction has taken place. That means calcium oxide is reacted with water to form a new substance called as calcium hydroxide. So calcium oxide reacts with water to form a solution of calcium hydroxide. Okay, now after weighing the product which was formed, that is calcium hydroxide, it can be found that it is around 74 grams of the substance which is formed after weighing. Okay, now let us verify the original substance from the original substance. Now the original substance what we have taken is nothing but we can find out from the mass of these two. Okay, so the original substances when they were added, that means the sum of the mass of calcium oxide and the sum of the mass of water, which is nothing but 56 grams, and plus 18 grams comes to around 74 grams. And you know, we have just now found that the mass of calcium hydroxide is also 74 grams, correct? So that means the new substance which has formed, the mass of it has not changed. The mass of the original substances when they were combined together is 74, as well as the mass of the substance which is formed newly is also 74 grams. So which shows that you know the mass has not changed at all. When before the reaction the mass was same, as well as after the reaction also the mass was same. Now let us try to verify this with another experiment. Okay, so for this we need to take a solution of calcium chloride and a solution of sodium sulfate in a test tube. So solution of calcium chloride in a conical flask and solution of sodium sulfate in the test tube. Okay, now tie a thread to the test tube and insert it in the conical flask. Okay, now seal the conical flask with an airtight rubber cork. That means there should not be any hole for the rubber cork, so that air could go inside, and you know, it might change the setup of the experiment. That is why, so it should be an airtight rubber cork. Now weigh this apparatus along with these chemicals. You will find that the weight, the mass is around 300.23 grams. Fine. Now what we have to do is that now tilt the conical flask so that the solution in the test tube gets poured in the conical flask. Now what do you observe here? You find that the reaction has taken place and a white precipitate of calcium sulfate has formed in sodium chloride solution. Now let us try to find out, calcium chloride has reacted here with the sodium sulfate to form new substances called as calcium sulfate and sodium chloride. Now here calcium sulfate forms a white precipitate. You can see that white curdy precipitate, whatever you can see, that is called as the precipitate, and in this precipitate is immersed in the sodium chloride solution. So these two new substances are formed. Now let us try to weigh both of them. Okay, so that is after the reaction. Let us try to find out the mass, and you see that the mass is not changed. The mass has remained the same, that is 300.23 grams, correct? Now when we compare, you find that before and after the mass has not changed. So from this what we can infer that from these two activities, in the first activity also the mass did not change, and even in the second activity the mass did not change. So from this what we can infer that there is no change in the mass during the chemical reaction. So it is also, you can see over here, there is no change in the mass during a chemical reaction. Fine. So in the first activity also, in the second activity also, we have come to know that there is no change in the mass during a chemical reaction. So from this only, from these experiments we can verify that this is nothing but the law of conservation of mass, or also called as law of conservation of matter. Okay, so this law of conservation of matter, which tells us that the mass of the original substance is equal to the mass of the matter which is newly formed. That means in a chemical reaction the mass do not change at all. Whatever is the mass of the original substances remain, is equal to the mass of the newly formed substance. Okay, so there is no change in the mass in a chemical reaction takes place. So this law of conservation of matter was studied by Antoine Lavoisier. Okay, so who was a French scientist in the year 1785. So according to him, he stated from these observations, he stated that there is no rise or not even drop in the weight of the matter during a chemical reaction. So that is why he formulated this law, and this law was called as the law of conservation of the matter. So he was the first one to give this law, also called a law of conservation of mass. So, and therefore from his observation he stated that in a chemical reaction, okay, the total weight of the reactants is same as the total weight of the products formed due to the chemical reaction. So what he said is that nothing but the ones which are taking part in the reaction are called as the reactants, and the ones which are formed, newly formed, are also called as the products. So this was the law of conservation of mass. Okay, so which states that mass of the original substance is equal to mass of the newly formed substance, or also we can say that the total weight of the reactants is same as the total weight of the products formed due to chemical reaction. Another way of stating it is that matter can neither be created nor can be destroyed. That means here nothing is created nor anything is destroyed. So another way of defining or stating this law of conservation of matter. So now let us learn about an introduction to the scientist Lavoisier. Okay, Antoine Lavoisier in the year 1743 to 1994 was a French scientist. Okay, so he was since he did a lot of studies in chemistry, he was also called as the father of modern chemistry. Okay, he was called as the father of modern chemistry. Fine, he also made substantial contributions in the fields of chemistry, biology and economics. Also, in the year 1772, Lavoisier discovered the role of oxygen in combustion. You know that for anything to burn, oxygen is very necessary. So, he was the first one to discover the role of oxygen in combustion. Okay, so he also gave the names of oxygen and hydrogen and as oxygen and hydrogen. Then he also discovered that water, the first time he discovered that water is made up of oxygen and hydrogen in the combination of two hydrogen atoms and one oxygen atom. He also wrote a book in the year published a book in the year 1718, Elementary Treatise on Chemistry, which is the first book on modern chemistry. He was the first one to write a book on modern chemistry. Fine. He also studied elements such as oxygen, hydrogen, nitrogen, phosphorus, mercury, zinc and sulfur. Then he assigned systematic names to the compounds such as sulfuric acid, copper sulfate and even sulfide. So he was the first to use the accurate weighing techniques to weigh the reactants. So you can imagine at that time how he must have done this experiment to weigh these chemical reactants. So he was the first one to weigh the reactants and products in a chemical reaction, and he was also the first writer of the law of conservation of mass in a chemical reaction. So I hope so you have understood about the first law of combination, that is the law of conservation of matter. So next time we are going to learn about the law of constant proportion. That is to say that any substance, when it is formed, the weight by proportion is always same. Fine, so that we are going to study in the next video. So till then students, bye and thank you. God bless you all.